Welcome back to the channel and to another WNBA video. It's Saturday, September 7th, and we only got one game to dive into for today. But we're going to get right into it, man. Just like we always do, we're going to break it down and analyze it. We'll talk about which way that I'm leaning as far as the points on the spread. We're also going to talk about any player props that I found for this game that I like, and then any picks that I put in officially myself. I'm going to list right down there in that pinned comment, so make sure you check back in. That way you can see if you'd like to ride along with me. But before we get into this game, we got to go over what we took yesterday and how that ended up going down. It was a 1-2 night. Unfortunately, took Marina Mabry over 1.5 3-pointers, and she does not hit. Another poor shooting night for Marina, unfortunately. But here's the funny thing, man. In the video yesterday, we did talk about her points. I think it was sitting at 12.5, and then her 3-pointers made, right? Unfortunately, I decided to roll with the 3-pointers made, thinking that's the safer bet. It's not. She don't cash on that one, obviously, and she does cash on her points. So a woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Goodness, man. But we took Jordan Canada over 9.5 points, and she hits this one. I think she finished with 15 points, had 10 assists as well, so a good game from Jordan. And then we took Derica Hamby under 16.5 points. She smacked under this line. What, like, there's a lot of times in a row, right? But she comes in with 21 points, man. She clears this line with ease, so we do not hit on that one. She makes me look like a fool. Oh, man. I don't think I've hit on a Derica Hamby player prop on the year every time I've touched her, which hasn't been a lot. But anytime I've touched any of her props, it's a no-go. So, if you see me touch her in the future, automatic fade, guys. I'm probably going to stay away, not going to lie to you guys. But let's dive into today's game, man. We got the Phoenix Mercury taking on the Seattle Storm. The Storm are laying 6.5. Depending on where you look, man, it's at 7 on some books as well. And the over-under sitting at 162.5. And the Mercury are going to be on the road for this one after dropping 4 of 5 straight that they just played at home. That's where they've definitely have been better on the year, right? But up until this point, but yeah, like I said, they dropped 4 of 5 on that 5-game homestand. So they are just 17 and 18 straight up on the year, kind of steadily falling down in the standings. They've clinched their playoff spot already, but they're dropped down to the 7th seed as of now. And they're just 7 and 10 on the road, but they're covering at an 8-1 record away from the house. They will be without Charisma Osborne and Becca Allen again here. That Becca Allen loss has been felt pretty heavily, in my opinion, for Phoenix, man. They need her back. She provides like an extra punch in just many areas. You know, she's a very versatile player. Just one of those ballers that makes the right moves. Always in the right spot. She's a willing distributor, good on the glass, got a nice jumper. She brings a lot to the table, and the Mercury are definitely missing her. The Storm, though, they haven't fared much better as of late. They're losers of 6 of 9 since returning from the Olympic break. The addition of Gabby Williams had some jumping the gun and calling them a lock for the championship after the move, right? And she's played better over the last 2 games specifically. She's finding her shot. She's settling into her role with this team. The Storm as a whole, though, while they've looked better over the last 2, beating the Sun, and then losing by just 7 to New York, and they kept that game close for the most part. I'm not sure I'm ready to say they've righted the ship, though. Is righted the right word there? I'm not even sure that's a word. Is righted a word, guys? I don't know. Comment righted down there below for me. I'm using it as a verb. I don't even know if it's a word, but we're going to roll with it, man. I don't think that the Storm have righted the ship personally. Like I said, though, with the addition of Gabby Williams, there was a lot of talk. Right? Oh, man, they're a lock. They're going to win it all. And while I didn't go that far with it, I didn't think that move was that big of a move to just, like, catapult them over the top and over the Liberty, the Sun, even the Aces, right? I didn't think that the Storm would like kind of collapse like they have, both offensively and defensively, post-Olympic break. So that is definitely a surprise to me. But man, both of these teams offensively, their outputs have dropped significantly since the break. The Mercury sit at 8th in offensive rating over their last 10. The Storm just 10th. Phoenix is 11th in points per game, averaging just 78 points per, with the Storm sitting at 9th with just under 80 per game. The Storm are just 9th in field goal shooting percentage as well over the last 10 and dead last in 3-point shooting percentage. The Mercury are middle of the pack, 6th in shooting the ball overall, but just 8th in 3-point shooting percentage. And that's a significant drop from where they've ranked on the year. Look, they have lived and died by the 3-ball this year, and when it's not falling like we've seen as of late, this offense tends to look pretty stale. Defensively, though, the Mercury are giving up the 4th most made shots overall, but they're holding opponents to the lowest shooting percentage over these last 10 games. They've struggled on the perimeter, giving up a middle-of-the-pack 6th ranked 3-point shooting, and they are giving up the 2nd most threes overall. But Like we mentioned already, that's not the Storm's game by any means. They have the lowest three-point shooting percentage on the year, and they are converting on just the third fewest makes from the three-point land in the W. Seattle has won a majority of their games this year on the strength of that defense that ranked towards the top of the W for much of the year heading into the break. Since then, they are allowing 44% shooting overall. That's just eighth. That's from the opposition. And they are tied for last for the highest three-point shooting percentage allowed as well from the opposition. So I see a path to getting behind the Storm for a victory here, but all things considered, I can't get behind them with this line here sitting at 6.5, 7 on some books, like I mentioned. So I'm going to lean Phoenix with the points here, and I could definitely see this making its way to the pin comment as well. I know a lot of people are higher on Seattle than Phoenix right now, and like I said, I could definitely see them pulling out a win. But I think this one's closer than the books are indicating. I think Phoenix can find some success offensively against the Seattle team with that inside out game that they have, the post play from BG, perimeter play from the four guards that they roll out around her in the starting five. So, if we look at these two head to head, they've split the previous two meetings, and while the Storm blew Phoenix out in that first matchup, the Mercury were without Griner for that one. And the second go around that she did play, they won by 9. She had a big game, 28 points. So, and they won that game as 3.5-point dogs as well. Another thing here, guys, the Storm against this specific number right here, that 6.5, they were just 1-9 in their last 10 games. So I just think it's too many points to lay with a team that's been inconsistent and struggling on both ends of the court. And for the total, I'm going to slightly lean under, but I'd like that more if I could have caught it earlier, man. That line is steady dropping, and I agree with the movement. Both these teams have had issues on the offensive end, like we discussed, but we're creeping into that like major sweat territory as that line gets closer and closer to 160. So I probably stay away from it personally, for the total, anyways. But if I had to lean, or if I had to choose, I would lean under. That's where I would go if you like forcing me to make a decision here. But like I said, it's probably not something that I'll run to the window to play myself. And let's jump over to Outlier. I got a player prop that I like for this one. Ezzy Magbagor, her points and rebounds over 18.5. Now, we faded Ezzy the other day on her rebounds. We hit the under, man, under 7.5. She landed right at 7. Look, she's got some skills, man. I'm not going to hold you. That was strictly a fade of like Seattle just kind of sucks on the boards, man, right? They were playing to the Sun in that one, I believe. Yeah, they were playing the Sun, man, and just felt like a good spot, and we just barely get by on that one. But anyways, that's yesterday's news. We're talking about today, man. Her points and rebounds over 18.5. Now, if we look down here, Outlier has one of those lovely insights for us. She has exceeded this number in 13 of her last 7 against bottom 5 defenses for points allowed. She's actually averaging 21.5 points and rebounds per game in those and hitting at a 76% rate over these 17 games, right? And if we look at her head-to-head, crushing this number against Phoenix, man. Not even coming close to the line on most of these games. She's crushing that number. And that one that went under was June of last year. So you got to love that. She smacked over this number in both the games that they've played this year against Phoenix. And if we look at Phoenix for their points and rebounds allowed, they're just 9th and then dead last overall, right? And if we look at them against forwards, all right, so middle of the pack for points allowed, 9th in rebounds. But if we look at them against center, middle of the pack for rebounds, 10th for points allowed. Now, Ezzy does play that hybrid forward center role, so just kind of depending on who's out there, but she's down low, guys. So I like this here, and we can catch this right now at minus 102 on FanDuel. You got to love it, man. That's damn near even money, right? So I like this one here, especially at these odds. Now, another prop that I'm looking at, it's going to be Kalia Copper of the Mercury, her rebounds over 4.5. Now, guys, before we get into this, I just want to throw it out there. Man, I am so tempted to look at her with her points, right? I mean, if we look down here, we can see that she's kind of been struggling as of late, but this is Kyle Copper we're talking about. She's going to bounce back at some point, and those points are sitting at over 19.5. Oh, boy, it's tempting, but, man, I am a little scared. I'm not going to lie. I know scared money don't make money, but, man, I'm a little hesitant. But what I do really, really like is her rebound line, man, that over 4.5. Now, if we look down here in her last 5, she smacked that at a 60% rate, right? She's all green, man, across the board, except for last year, but we're not worried about last year. We're living in the now, man. Look at the last 10. She's hit that at a 60% rate as well. Okay, I mean, we can just keep pushing it back further. 65% over her last 20. 2024 on the season, she's still hitting at above a 50% rate. So more green than red. That's what we like to see, guys. If we look at her head to head, she's hitting at an 83% rate over Seattle, right? She has cleared this number in both the games that they played, the three of the 4 games that they played on the season before. Look, man, she's getting those boards against Seattle, right? And if we look at that insight that Outlier has in this one here, now she has exceeded this number in 5 of her last 6 games on the road. She's hitting at an 83% rate. So you got to love that as well, man. And if we look at Seattle against their for rebounds allowed overall, they are just second to last, right? And if we look at them against guards, only ninth. So we got to like this here, man. And if we look at that, like I said, we can find this on FanDuel at minus 136. That's the lovely thing about Outlier, too, guys. It's always going to show you which sports books that this is available on, whatever player prop that you're looking at. It's going to give you the options, right? And it's going to show you where the best odds are. So always make sure that you pop over here to Outlier. If you don't have Outlier, man, click into the description, click into the pinned comment. There's going to be a link that you can find there, and you'll be able to get a free 7-day trial to try this out for yourself. And like I said, just a lot of different tools. You see it here every day, every video that you watch. We pop over here to Outlier. Same with Ev and Tassos. We all three use this on a regular because it is the best sports researching bet app out there, man. It's going to give you all that data and break it down and analyze it for you. Just condense it into one spot. That way we aren't jumping around between 17 different websites trying to find this info. Like I said, man, long story short, Kai Copper rebounds over 4.5. We can catch this right now in FanDuel minus 136. I'm liking this one a lot. So, guys, that is going to wrap it up. Just a short video today with just the one game on the slate, but we got a huge 5-game slate going down tomorrow on Sunday, along with the NFL, man. It's going to be a busy day. Hopefully, a lot of opportunities to make some cash. So, probably not going to go crazy on this one here, guys. I wouldn't either if I was you, man. Like I said, with 5 games coming up tomorrow, NFL on, MLB still in action, plenty of opportunity to make money tomorrow. So don't force anything. Let's be smart today. Well, with that said, man, if you guys enjoyed the content, you found it helpful or useful in any kind of way, please do not forget to smash that like button down below and hit subscribe if you have not already. That way you don't miss out on any of this content that we are dropping on a daily here on Guy Boston Sports Channel. And we got a ton coming your way, man. Like I said, with the NFL on the horizon, MLB still in full swing, at WNBA still in action, ton of content coming out every day, guys. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you aren't missing out on any of it. And the best news, it's all free, man. We don't charge for nothing around here. All free picks all day, every day. So, like I said, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell. That way you get notified every time we drop a video. I hope you guys have a great day today. Let's make a little bit of cash. Best of luck, and I will see you on the next one.